Hi everyone, this is an online lecture for inflation and unemployment. This is the last topic. I will cover two concepts, so make sure you take a look at your tutorial after the online lecture, okay? Now, what is inflation? Inflation is defined as the persistent and sustained increase in the price level uh, of goods and services in the economy. Now, it cannot be a one product, two product that's getting expensive that we call inflation. It has to be the most of the goods and services are getting more expensive. All right, and it cannot be a 1 day, 2 day kind of thing. It has to be quite a long-term kind of price increase. Now, like the measurement of GDP, we usually measure price changes over the year. All right, and further perhaps divide into quarters or months. Okay, so it has to have a lengthy period of time that we see prices are going up in general. That we define this as inflation. Now, some terminology. Inflation means an increase in the price level. Okay, deflation means a decrease in the price level. Okay, now in this topic, we calculate the inflation rate. Is a annual percentage change in the price level. All right, so it's also kind of rate similar to what we have learned how to calculate for economic growth rate. So it's a percentage change representing how much prices have changed. Now prices can go up, in that case it's called inflation. Prices can come down, in that case it's called deflation. Okay, so note the terminology. Now, if the price level is rising, things are becoming more expensive, we say that the inflation rate is positive. Okay, that means the percentage change is a plus to demonstrate that the price level is rising. Now, when things are becoming cheaper, price level is falling, inflation rate is negative. Okay, because inflation measures the increase in the price level. So when the price level is falling, the rate that we calculate will become negative. Okay. Now, what's hyperinflation? Hyperinflation refers to an extremely rapid rise in the price level. Now, we're not talking about a single digit or even double digit kind of inflation rate that's called hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is some textbook call it runaway inflation, very, very high level of inflation rate. I suggest you guys take a look at the Zimbabwe example that are posted on LMS. Okay, that you see what is the meaning of hyperinflation. Okay, runaway, very, very high kind of inflation rate. Okay, now this is the inflation rate formula. We take CPI this year minus CPI last year, divide by CPI last year times 100%. Now the formula structure is the same as your economic growth rate structure. Okay, this is a percentage change mathematical formula. Okay, so you should be used to it by now. This year minus last year over last year times 100%. Okay, now some of you are wondering what is CPI. Now CPI is called Consumer Price Index. It's an index measuring how prices have changed. Now we have encountered something similar when we were calculating things in the GDP chapter. Your CPI, okay, is also a deflator. Okay, it's the same index, but used for different purposes. Okay, so the index that's measuring changes in the price level is your CPI. So the deflator, the use of a deflator, the deflator itself is actually your CPI. Okay, so it's an index based on the base year prices. So compared to the base year, how much has prices changed? All right, so your deflator is your CPI. Now the CPI is obtained by economists or the government selecting a basket of goods and services that people need and then measuring the average prices from there. Okay, this one we have gone through in lecture. Okay, so just remember your CPI is a consumer price index and it measures percentage changes in price level based on an index which is derived from changes from the base year prices. Okay, so it's a number that's higher or lower than 100. Okay. Okay, let's move on to unemployment. The unemployment is a situation where people want to work but they can't find job. But before we look into that, let's take a look at how the labor market structure is like. Okay. Now, this is how we view the labor market in general. Now, when you're of age, in Singapore, it's 15 years old and above. Okay, so once you're old enough to work, you are calculated under a resource. So you enter this outer area here. You're part of the working age population where you remain, okay, for the rest of your life. Now, you are legally able to work, but it doesn't mean that you want to work. If you want to work, you'll be in this inner area we call the labor force. Okay? And if you want to work and you cannot find work, you are part of these unemployed people. Okay? Most people will be employed. Okay? They want to work and they're working. Alright? So the unemployed people here are those who want to work but cannot find job. Those people who don't want to work and are not working, they are the in-between. Can they work legally? Yes, because they're of age. Okay? But they don't want to work. So they'll be the in-between, they'll be in this place where they're in-between. Okay? Because they don't want to work. Alright? Okay, so your working age population refers to people aged 15 years and above. Okay, 15 years old and above, you are legally able to work. And unemployed people are people who wants to work but are now not working because they can't find a job. Okay, but they must be wanting to work in the first place. Then they are counted as unemployed people. Let's take a look at the labor force and who are the people that's inside the labor force. Yeah, the labor force consists of people legally able to work and wanting to work. All right. Now, as mentioned earlier, they might be looking for a job, that means unemployed, or they could be holding on to a job now, employed. All right. So labor force is just the adding up of those people who are employed and the number of people who are unemployed. Both add up together will form your labor force. Let's take a look at the map again. So labor force consists of your unemployed people and your employed people. Okay. So your labor force is the number of people who wants to work. Out of those who are legally able to work, these are the people that wants to work. Okay, so a labor force is this inner area here, consisting of the employed plus unemployed. Okay, these two groups of people. All right, we already said earlier that the similarity between these two groups is that they want to work. That's why they are part of the labor force. Okay, those people who are in between are people who legally can work but no longer wants to work or don't want to work. All right. In the lecture, some of you are asking, who are these people in between? They could be students like you, okay, who are now studying. They are legally able to work because most of you are more than 15. And there'll be some people who are already retired, okay, no longer wants to work. But can they work legally? Yes, they can. All right. So these are examples of people who are in the in-between areas. Now let's take a look at the calculation of the unemployment rate. Now, your unemployment rate is one of the statistics that you need to look for your project. Okay, so you must understand what it is. Now, your unemployment rate, all right, is obtained from taking the number of people who are unemployed over the labor force. Take note, it's over labor force, not your working age population. All right, you're looking at the number of people who wants to work but cannot find job as a percentage, all right, of everyone who wants to work. Okay, let's take a look at the map again. So we're looking at the percentage of this inner area, all right, as a percentage of this labor force, which is a larger area. Okay, so the percentage is taken, this group, as a percentage of this area, not the working age population, only this inner labor force area. Okay, let's take a look at the labor force participation rate, which calculates out of those who are legally able to work, how many of them actually wants to work. Okay, now we use this formula, labor force divided by the working age population. Okay, is labor force, that means those people who are willing to work, divided by working age population. These are the total number of people who are legally able to work. Then you times 100%. All right, let's take a look at the map and see what we're talking about. Now, so we're calculating this inner area, which is labor force, which is the number of people who wants to work as a percentage of this outer area here, which is the total number of people who are legally able to work. Okay, so this labor force participation rate will tell us, okay, as a percentage, how many people can wants to work out of those people who can work legally. All right. Now, I mentioned in lecture that one of the things that this labor force participation rate can tell us is how old the population is or how young the population is. Okay. Now, because um, if the participation rate is low, it's an indication that the population is getting older because most older people having worked all their lives, they are probably already retired. Okay, so they are not wanting to work at an advanced age, whereas younger people tend to want to work. So when the participation rate is low, that's an indicator that there's a lot of people in between. That means can work but no longer wants to work. Okay, so this labor force number of people becomes smaller as a percentage. Okay, as a part of the working age population. So um, a low rate is indicating that the population is older than a rate that is higher. Okay, because younger people prefers to work while older people prefers not to work. That's the usual assumption. Okay. Now we have learned how to calculate unemployment rate, which is the number of people who cannot find jobs. They want to work but they cannot find jobs. Let's take a look at the different types of unemployment that we have. These are the three, you must remember them for your tests and exams. Okay, what is frictional, structural, and cyclical unemployment? Let's take a look. Now, for frictional unemployment, okay, it's a temporary unemployment. People who are moving between jobs, they have just quit one job, they are starting the next, but meanwhile they are not working, so they are under a very temporary kind of unemployment, which we call frictional. Okay, another example would be you have graduated from TP and then you're trying to find a job. Job coming but not yet, and you're not working yet. This short period that you're not working is known as frictional unemployment. Okay, we mentioned in lecture that what can encourage or allow people to find jobs faster by holding job fairs, for instance. Okay, when people are graduating, there's job fairs and then there's other information so as to guide people to the jobs that are looking for them more effectively. All right, but frictional unemployment is basically a temporary or very short period kind of unemployment, transitional unemployment. Okay, very short period, temporary kind of days without work. All right, so people moving between jobs and people just graduating. All right. Now, structural unemployment is a very serious form of unemployment when there's a mismatch of skills. Now, mismatch of skills is when what you know or your experience becomes outdated. It's no longer needed in the industry. Okay, so this occurs when there's a change in technology or your industry is no longer there. Perhaps move to another country, and what you know and what your experience was is no longer needed. All right, so you become structurally unemployed. Okay, one way to resolve this is to go to some upgrading courses, go back to school, all right, to equip yourself again to get out of structural unemployment. Okay, basically what you know and your experience are really outdated. So we call this a mismatch of skills. What the industry want, you don't have. Okay, what you have is no longer needed. Okay, that's structural unemployment. Now, cyclical unemployment is the usual unemployment that we see when the economy is not doing well. Okay, now we call this involuntary unemployment. Now, it happens when there's a recession in the economy, okay, and there's a lack of demand for goods and services. So, example will be companies firing people. Now, the people that loses their job are people who are skilled. Okay, they can work and they have the right experience, but because the economic climate is no good, they are let off from their jobs. Okay, this is cyclical unemployment. Now, cyclical unemployment is identified in the on the ADS diagram whenever you see a recessionary gap. Okay, it happens only when there's a recession, when people are let off involuntarily. They can work, they got the right experience, but they loses their job. They lose their job because the economic climate is bad. Okay. Now, in a situation where there's full employment, all available resources are fully utilized, there are no cyclical unemployment. Okay, cyclical unemployment only happens when in a recession. Okay, but take note, frictional and structural unemployment, these two types are always present. there will always be people moving in between jobs, always have people graduating, waiting for jobs to start, and we always have structural unemployment whereby people are made redundant because of a mismatch of skills. Okay, these two are always present. Okay, now as long as there's no cyclical unemployment, okay, we call this full employment already. All right. Now take note again. Um, we have this term called natural unemployment rate. Now at full employment, what you have is only frictional and structural. Okay, so these two add up together, they will give us our natural unemployment rate. Now natural because they are always there. Okay, so in the economy at full employment, where you don't have any cyclical unemployment, what you have is only frictional plus structural. This will be our natural unemployment rate. It's natural, it must be there. Okay, therefore your unemployment rate can never be at zero, can never, because there will always be frictional and structural unemployment. All right, so at full employment, where all your resources are put into use, your unemployment rate at that output level is your natural rate. Okay, so your unemployment rate, let's say at full employment is 2%. This 2% comprises of all the frictional unemployed people and all the structural unemployed people. Together, they will form the natural rate of unemployment. Now, we read the natural rate of unemployment at full employment output. Okay, it's at that point of full employment output that we take a reading. How many people are frictionally unemployed or structurally unemployed, or two add up together. Okay, that will form our natural rate of unemployment. The reading for that is taken at full employment output. Although structural and frictional unemployment is there across the entire output spectrum. Okay, the reading is taken at full employment output. All right, so at that, whoever that's not employed because of frictional and structural unemployment, they form the natural rate of unemployment. Okay. Now, whenever your GDP is below full employment output level, so on the diagram you will see a recessionary gap. So when you see that, there will be cyclical unemployment occurs. Remember, it's involuntary. People who can work with the right experience, but they're let off from their job because of poor economic climate. Now, when that happens, okay, your unemployment rate will be more than the natural rate. Why? Because you got this additional cyclical unemployment adding into the percentage. Okay, so in a recessionary period, um, your unemployment rate will be higher than natural. Okay, natural is at full employment. Okay. Okay, this is the end of lecture and the end of our last topic. Now make sure you start revising from now. So the entire syllabus is quite long. You have the microeconomics part all the way from the initial theories to demand and supply and market structure, and then you have the macro part where we talk about GDP, inflation, and unemployment. Okay, so it's time to consolidate and please attend the revision lectures and to go through all your notes again. All right, good luck for your final exam.